Welcome to Hollywood Glove Puppet Playhouse, starring Sock Dragon and Development Bunny. 10 a.m., the crack of dawn in the film world, and Sock has weaseled his way into the lair of Jabba the Prod. As we fade in, we hear Sock Dragon pitching his brand new spec script to Development Bunny, who is struggling with their first cup of coffee of the day.
Make it snappy, Puppet-Head. You're boring me already.
It's called 10 Days in a Madhouse, and it's an action-adventure thriller about 23-year-old New York World reporter Nelly Bly. 1887, and Nelly Bly is freshly arrived from Pittsburgh, looking for a job on the most prestigious newspaper on the planet, the New York World. Nelly hangs around the courthouse steps with other reporters looking for a story, and manages to drag an interview out of a disgruntled nurse from Blackwell's Island Insane Asylum in the East River, who claims to have been raped by the attendants.
Dornan says women go crazy because of sex. Him and Bloor are doing castrations on those inmates.
There she also encounters Dennis Jones, a fellow reporter from Pittsburgh who ignored her back home, but who now seems very impressed with her. Nelly writes the rape story, then sneaks into the newsroom of the New York World. There she's confronted by Mac, the political cartoonist generally credited with the downfall of Boss Tweed. Mac falls for Nelly on the spot. Then he helps her get a few minutes in the office of the fearsome New York World publisher, Joe Pulitzer. Nelly produces her nurse rape story, then pitches the astonished Pulitzer a revolutionary idea.
I'm going to have myself committed to Blackwell's as a patient and come out with the real story from the inside.
Pulitzer, a sucker for a pretty girl and a good story, agrees. Nelly pretends to go crazy in her boarding house in Greenwich Village, and she's taken to Bellevue for examination. The Bellevue doctors diagnose Nelly, and she is transported to Blackwell's Island. Nelly is examined on arrival by Chief of Staff Dr. Album Dornan, a highly respected alienist, and his strangely seductive and sadistic first assistant, Nurse Bloor. Dornan and Pulitzer meet at a New York Society fundraiser that evening, where he speaks of his revolutionary treatment of the insane called insulin therapy, which puts his patients into coma to rest them from their terrors. Pulitzer fears for Nelly, and he orders Mac to get her out of there. Meanwhile, Nelly documents the abuses on Blackwell's in the therapy rooms, and she witnesses the insulin treatments as women are put into coma. Dennis hears of Nelly's incarceration, and he visits her at Blackwell's. There he blows her cover by demanding her immediate release. Dornan threatens him with commitment, and Dennis flees in terror. Dornan has Nelly thrown into the dungeon cages with the violently insane. Bloor then gives Nelly chloral hydrate, rendering her twisted and mute in a drug-induced psychosis. Pulitzer's lawyers and Mac go to the island to demand Nelly's release. Dornan sadly refuses and leads them to the dungeons, where they find Nelly raging in her psychotic nightmares. Later, Mac and Dennis fight over Nelly, but Pulitzer arrives with an injunction, and they all rush off to Blackwell's to save Nelly. Nelly vomits up the next dose of chloral hydrate. Then she escapes into the sewers, but is thwarted by bars on the outflow pipes. The slippery Dornan has her cleaned up, then violently restrained and given the insulin treatment. When Mac and Dennis arrive, they find Nelly in a coma. But one of the inmates Nelly has befriended surreptitiously administers the sugar antidote, and Nelly revives just in time to confront Dornan.
Your days are numbered.
Nelly writes a vicious expose in the World under her own byline, and circulation goes sky high. Dornan, however, has taken his wrath out on the sadistic Nurse Bloor as she meets another, more twisted fate. Mac and Dennis continue to pursue Nelly, but she has little time for them. Pulitzer makes Nelly the first woman reporter in New York City history, and she embarks on a career of stunt journalism.
Interesting. But we're not really looking at period pieces just now.
Oh. Okay. Later at Le Deux.
It's a perfect vehicle for that ropeback guy's wife. What's her name, see?
Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah.
But the cartoon guy loves her for her hair, see? And Spacey is perfect for the mad doctor.
Can we get Chun-Li?